My name's John Paul Dombrowski, and this is the point of no return. My life has been shifting and changing in ways beyond what I could have ever imagined. Interestingly, I've received so much of what I've always wanted and found that it hasn't been what I thought it would be. And in other ways, found things that I could have never imagined to receive. And there's many cliches about healing, there's many writings on spirituality. But what this video is about is me being caught right in the middle of it all. You see, I'm a therapist. I'm a son of God. I'm a believer. I'm a lover of Buddhism. I'm a Catholic. And I don't think that this idea of psychology and spirituality being separate is true. But I feel myself being wrenched. And what I can say to you today, and I can say it with a deep belief, is that I am loved. And I know that. And I really have not known that. That's why I got into therapy in the first place, because I was hurting. I saw a bad therapist, didn't help me much. And I thought nobody should feel like that again, needing help and not receiving it. But at a point along the way, I recognized that my desire to help others to avoid my own pain was actually selfish and self-centered. Because it wasn't actually about the people in front of me. It was about me trying to protect myself. It wasn't really about taking care of the other person, because I couldn't go past the healing that I hadn't experienced yet. Now this is the point of no return. Because I've gone past it. And I'll never be the same. I learned, as Christ said, why do you see the speck in your brother's eye when you have a beam in your own? And the last part's very important. He said, first, remove the beam from your own so that with clear vision you can assist your brother to remove the speck from theirs. So when I realized that I was just trying to rescue myself and other people, I turned inward, I began to do the work, realizing how important my healing is, that I cannot help other people to heal if I'm not healed. Otherwise, I'm going to do what I was doing, which is just project onto them. And I went all in. And I realized that if I really wanted to help people, which I did really genuinely want to help people, I had to do the work. And so I said, fuck it. I'm going all in. To do the therapy, to do the journaling, to practice mindfulness each day. To have a uncompromising commitment to the belief that there is more for me than my attachments to the things that keep me secure. And that is really what I found you need if you want to heal, not feel better. Anybody can learn to feel better. But if you want to heal, you have to develop an uncompromising commitment to the belief that there is a way of being that is beyond what you know. This, my friend, is surrender. In the Bible it says, "Blessed are the poor of heart, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And this always puzzled me, because it didn't make any sense, the interpretations that I heard. I heard interpretations that said, oh, it means you're lowly, or it means you're humble, or it means, I've even heard, it means that you feel bad, but that doesn't make sense. As I've learned from my experiences, mindfulness meditation and Buddhist philosophies, our suffering comes from our attachment to things. And our attachments to feelings lead us to push certain feelings away and grab on and hold on to other feelings. But because life is an ever-changing unraveling of newness, we want things to stay the same, to feel good and not feel bad, and life changes, and it leads us to suffer because we resist the inevitable way that life changes. And so what I discovered is that I was a spiritual materialist. I held on to good feelings of peace and happiness and joy, locking them in a vice grip of my arms. And I would push away feelings of anger, hurt, frustration, sadness, despair. And so I was not poor in spirit. I was lustful, gluttonous, and covetous spiritually, grabbing onto whatever good feelings and consolations I could, rejecting whatever bad feelings and hurts I didn't like. I was a spiritual materialist. One of the other keys of Enlightenment philosophy is that whatever you are awakening to, it's already within you. The very thing that you're trying to achieve, it's already here. And so it's not so much that mindfulness and spirituality is a practice of doing. It's a practice of learning to let go of doing. Because when we rest in the simple awareness here, without attachment, we are connected to the beauty and the unity of all things. We are connected to God, who says when Moses asks him, "Who are you?" God says, "Yahweh. I am who I am." Being itself. Presence itself. And you and I, we are made in the image and the likeness of God. And you see this in so many religions, cultures. This oneness of unity of all things. And the spiritual path is a purification to connect with the divine. For at the center of it all is love. And Christ says, he says, If only you knew what this means. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not there. It's not out there. It's not sometime later. It's not up in the sky. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's within you. But it's our attachment to good feelings and our resistance of bad feelings that leads us to live life through attachment and resistance and flooding. And when we're doing all this activity, we're missing the fact that the kingdom of heaven is here. So the unflinching commitment that I made is what Christ says earlier on. But seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and all of it will be given unto you. The one thing necessary is an unwavering commitment that there is something more to life, that the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and it is within me. And so what I learned is that to be poor in spirit, it's not about our mood. It's not about how much we have. It's about how we are attached. To be poor in spirit means to surrender, to let go of our attachments. Because when we let go of the clutter of our attachments, our wants and our resistances, what emerges from within us but the kingdom of heaven, which is love. You believe you're not loved. That's a belief that you are attached to. And you're afraid of feeling that you're unloved because you don't like the feelings, so you resist those feelings of sadness and disappointment. But you both believe that you're unloved and you also resist the belief that you're unloved at the same time, and so your mind and your life is cluttered in a constant state of yearning and grasping and pushing and pulling. And there's no space for your experience because you're living from your mind. You are more than your mind. But your life is cluttered by all your attachment to feeling good and not feeling bad. Your life is so encumbered by the baggage of trying not to feel bad feelings and trying to feel good feelings because you're afraid that if you feel the feelings, it will confirm the belief and it will really show you that you really are bad. You're not. These are beliefs, and I've had them too. The belief that I wasn't lovable, the belief that I didn't belong, the belief that I was so different that people couldn't understand me. The belief that I was so different that people couldn't understand me. I had these beliefs and they've ruled my life for a long time. And what I can realize now is I can turn towards those beliefs with love. Those beliefs are not my enemy. Those beliefs were the best flotation device that I had through the storm and the chaos of life before I could experience God and love from the spacious awareness of all being. These beliefs that we develop are shaped around our experiences and they keep us safe. And so what I've learned to do is to be spiritually impoverished. To sit with these beliefs and these parts of me that hold them in myself without pushing them away. and also without blending with them, but to meet all of reality with compassion and curiosity. For love is simply the gift of attention. And so I've sat with this. And there's a saying, and the saying is, tears are passed down from one generation to the next until someone is willing to feel them. And I volunteer as tribute to feel the feelings that haven't been felt before. To purify and heal and protect the generations that come after me, because I can feel it. Even if it's not mine. But we're so cluttered by these beliefs that served us before to get us through difficult times. But now we're held hostage by them. But these beliefs are actually the ones that are held hostage under the pain that they got us through. And when we're constantly avoiding bad feelings and grabbing onto good ones, we are cluttered and we are ignoring the vulnerabilities, the hurts in ourselves. And we can become very vulnerable to looking for all the vulnerabilities and hurts in other people, while being hypocrites and ignoring our own. But I started to realize that it's my attachment to feeling good and not feeling bad. It's my attachment to my beliefs that is keeping me from what's right here. For as I said, the central thesis of Enlightenment philosophies is that whatever it is, the direct approach at least, is that whatever it is that we are awakening to, it's already here. But it's attachment to our beliefs and our feelings that clutter and distort our ability to see it and connect with it. And so I said that this was the point of no return. Truly it is for me. Because I've been captured. I've been taken hostage by love. I've been taken hostage by the love which is at the center of my existence that I didn't know how to live from, because I was so busy in the clutter of my attachments. And so I really feel like I've been taken hostage. And I wrote this a little while ago today. Love has taken me. Like a prisoner of war, love has tortured me, ripping away everything, every belief. Love has brainwashed me, forcing a vision upon me that sees beauty in all things, forcing a belief system upon me that sees every living being as good. Love has captured me. Love has beat me down. Love has tortured me and stripped everything from me. I cannot resist its grasp. Love has vanquished me. And now I see that all I am is love. You see, as I learned how much my attachments encumbered my experience of freedom, I started to notice that when I would get into disagreements with my wife, of course I'm a very, very defensive person. It's a great flaw. It's a great protective strategy where I'm trying to protect those feelings. But I started learning to apologize really well. And I started learning to apologize really well because I realized I don't want to force my baggage and my hurt upon those people that I love. And so when I make a mistake and it's mine, I want to own it. Not to spiral into a shaming, oh, mi culpa, I'm so bad, I'm so awful, what's wrong with me? No. And not it's no big deal, why are you worried about it? No, but a true and honest, I'm going to take this one on the chin. I dropped the ball. I made the mistake. And I no longer have to protect my ego from my flaws. And so when I make a mistake, I can say, I'm sorry. And it's really all I can say. Because I'm spiritually impoverished. I'm poor in spirit. But what I have is my attention. And I can give that. And so there really is a way that I started to realize, once I started to see these things of like, oh, I don't want to hold on to that. Oh, that's a defense that's keeping me from feeling insecure. Well, I would much rather feel insecure than to not apologize to my wife who I love. And so I guess I started kind of biting the bullet of just being able to practice saying, this one really is on me, and I'll take it, I'll own it. It's also something that I learned is absolutely, fundamentally, essentially with my clients in therapy. Is that when I make a mistake, I own it, and I make plenty of mistakes. And I say this to many clients at the outset of therapy. I say, unfortunately, I can't promise you that I won't hurt you. I wish I could. I wish I could promise that I will never hurt you. I can't. In fact, I probably can promise that I will hurt you. But what I can tell you is this. It's never my intention to hurt you. And if I hurt you out of my negligence or my shortcoming, I want you to bring it to my attention because I want to own up to it and I want to apologize for it. And I don't want you to trust that I'm a perfect person that will never let you down, because that's not true. And that's setting you up for even more hurt when you see my humanity. But I want you to trust that this is the type of relationship where I will own my mistakes and my flaws. And you will not have to change your beliefs about reality to fit the distortions that I convince you of, because I'm not willing to admit I screwed up. So I want you to trust that I have your good intentions. But I want you to trust that when I make a mistake, I want to hear about that too. Because I know that I'm flawed. And I want to give you the apologies that you're due. I don't want you to trust that I'm a perfect person. I want you to trust that this is a relationship where honesty is valued and where we can work through hurts and ruptures when they inevitably occur. And so I apologize to my clients in therapy a lot because I'm just as human as you. But I don't have to protect myself from my humanity anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. Maybe still in ways. I want to be careful here. But it doesn't rule me. And I think I can learn to see when I do protect myself from my humanity, I think I'm learning to see that. But I say that it's the point of no return because as I've been giving up some of these things and learning to surrender, I've started to experience that I'm loved. And it's not a belief. I don't believe that I'm loved. I know it. I know it. And I know that you are another self to me. You are my friend. That's what it means in Greek, is another self. I know you're another one of me. And you're loved too. As I have started to experience this love, not a belief, not a feeling, an experience of being held in reality, an experience of openness, of compassion that doesn't come from me. Jim Carrey said once, he said, I used to think of myself as a guy experiencing the universe. He said, but I don't think of myself that way anymore. He said, now I recognize that I am the universe, experiencing a man. And this is how I feel. I used to think of myself as someone who was seeking love. I used to think of myself as someone who was seeking God. And sometimes I still do. But now what I can really see and what I really know is that this right here, this I that I call myself, this is God's loving mercy seeking out a man that I call me. I am now both a man seeking God and I am also God's love experiencing a man. And I live on both sides of that. Sometimes in prayer, I'm the one seeking him. And sometimes in prayer, kind of like right now, I'm the one. I'm him seeking me. And so there's these two dimensions of spirituality. An identity-ego relationship with God, and the second, which is a non-dual experience. And both are part of the path. There's a way that we are talking to God. I'm talking to God. There's another way in which I am just with him, marinating in his reality. He's living in from without me. As Paul says, it's no longer he that lives, but it's no longer I that live, but Christ that lives in me, right? Theophysis, the Orthodox tradition. God became man so that man might become God's. From, I think, Saint Anthony, maybe. But as I've done this, guys, I've been taken captive. I've been captured. I've been pulled in. Like, I don't think I can get out of this. I don't think I can escape the grasp that love has on me. Because as I've started to see this and started to experience that, letting go of my identity, letting go of my ego, letting go of my wants, letting go of my needs, which sounds scary, I know. It is. It is. Because as Erich Fromm said, our task is not to feel secure. But rather to tolerate insecurity. And that's what I'm learning to do. And in the insecurity, in the tolerance of insecurity, I experience fear. There's plenty of space for fear here. Experience worry, experience parts of me that want to grab onto control. Yeah, all of it. But I also experience the wide open space of awareness. That all those clouds, they're just like clouds in the sky. All those thoughts, all those feelings, all those fears, all those identities, they're like clouds in the sky. Sometimes it's really cloudy like today. Sometimes it's clear. But I'm not the clouds. I'm the sky. The space of wide open awareness. Awareness, the thing that's been here the whole time before, the thing before I had any cognitive sense of identity. Awareness, which is at the beginning of all things, all in all things and through all things. Awareness. And so I've learned that the sky can tolerate the intensity, the insecurity of any storm cloud, any tornado, any hurricane. And it's not overcome by it. And so I really started to realize surrender. Surrender is not something that you can do with effort. Letting go of something letting go is not something you can learn to do. Being accepting is not something you can learn to do. This is the great paradox. It's rather, when we stop the doing, letting go happens. When we stop the grasping, letting go happens. When we stop the resistance, even the resistance of the resistance, you don't become accepting by saying, I should be more accepting. No, that's just more resistance. You become accepting by saying, how does this resistance feel right now? We begin by accepting the resistance. Surrender is not something you can do. Surrender is when you stop fighting the battle. You cannot surrender with the same tactics that you use in battle. You can't effort your way into surrender. You can't. All you can do is set the stage. And then it happens all on its own. And that's what these practices are. That's what the mindfulness practices are. That's what journaling is. That's what prayer is. You're setting the stage and allowing what happens to happen. And so we're not learning a new skill. We're learning to let go of the skills. And then falling backwards. The best, I remember very clearly the first time some of this stuff started really moving in my life. Probably around 2022, spring, and I was doing a lot of therapy work. Like in my own work. And I remember I was especially group work, and I remember experiencing a moment where I started seeing some of these patterns. I started gaining some awareness, and I kind of realized I could feel myself wanting to grab onto the patterns and wanting to use the patterns to justify the patterns. And I just said, I'm going to let go. And I envisioned in my mind doing a trust fall. Like literally, I envisioned falling backwards. And surrender happened to me. And it was terrifying. Because I was choosing to trust a commitment and a belief that there was something more for me than what I knew. And so I was falling back in surrender, letting go of the desire to feel secure, tolerating the insecurity of falling backwards. And when you surrender and you lean back, you fall for a really long time. Because God's so big. And to be honest, I don't know if we ever hit the bottom. Because when we surrender, God's there with us. But after I've started to do that, when I see those patterns, when I see this control in me, when I see these parts of me that are trying to grasp for security, I can't help but let it go. Because I believe there's something more for me than that. And so this is why I say, guys, this is the point of no return for me. I've been, by my own efforts, trying to keep this plane flying. And gravity of love, the gravity of love is pulling me to the ground. And there's a certain peace that I find here, free falling through the air. A certain lightness. A certain peace that comes from me saying, I can't figure it all out. And I don't know how this will all end. But I don't need to. Because I can simply be here in this moment, from one moment to the next. So I'm at the point of no return. I think love has gotten a grip on me and is pulling me in deeper and deeper. And it's not that these parts of me have to die. No. There's no part of me that has to die. It's that these parts of me have to be unburdened from the attachment that they have to behaviors, beliefs, habits. Certain parts of me have to be unburdened from the fear of letting me feel sad. Certain parts of me have to be unburdened from the role of making sure I'm in control at all times. But I'm not cutting those parts out. I'm helping those parts from this space of loving awareness to become unburdened through compassionate love and curiosity and listening to the pain instead of rejecting it. And I'm incorporating them unburdened. To include these parts of me and transcend. To transcend their roles and include them. What a beautiful line. I'm looking down at my notebook, my journaling from September 11th. Mark 9:36 that I wrote down. And what does it benefit a person to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? What does it gain a person through attachment to grab onto everything and to become a billionaire and to lose and sacrifice the connection to all things. I don't really know what this says, but I'm just gonna read it because who knows why it's right in front of me. What I wrote after that. It's comedic, really. That when I feel movements in my heart that call me into something deeper, but riskier for some part of me, then I want to believe those are not God's words, just my own thoughts and reactions. I don't really have to follow through on that. And discernment is so important. But when God puts something on my heart that my ego and my attachments feel threatened by, well, then discernment usually is more about my relationship to find a way out to those words than anything else. Here's where I feel an admiration for those who have conviction. Here's where we need to find in our culture deep conviction, yet a conviction in the importance of peaceful dialogue. Lord, may you help us all to wake up. So thank you for being here with me. This is On the Journey with John Paul Dombrowski. And I'm walking here, right here with you. I hope and I pray that something stirred in you today while listening to this, as I've been stirred by listening so much to what's been shared with me, and it's brought me here. For we are dwarves standing on the shoulders of giants, and I'm a dwarf standing on the shoulders of lots of giants. But I hope that the words of those giants you can hear. I hope that you can feel moved here. And with that movement, I hope you can sit with it to make space in silence, or in journaling and reflection, to ask, what's the message in this for me right now? What are my fears of that message? How are those fears trying to protect me? And what does it mean in my life to hold on to this belief that my task is not to feel secure, but rather to tolerate insecurity? I'm grateful that you're here with me. I mean this with all sincerity. I wish you well. Keep walking, because the path is made by walking. Take good care, my friends. Keep it raw. Keep it real. And let's continue to become more radically human.